the anticipated continuation of the final empire. The Well of Ascension begins by addressing the political, psychological, and cultural repercussions of the finale of the first book of the Mistborn Trilogy. The Empire faces its greatest period of instability since the ascension of the Lord Ruler, and it falls upon the survivors' crew to ensure the continuation of the newfound Ska dignity in their conflicting relationship with the nobles. Such a task by itself is already monumental, but the scattered factions of the Empire aim to make it an even harder endeavor, fraught with unpredictable dangers and perilous legends that are suddenly becoming reality. The Ska suffered through 1,000 years of slavery and oppression, not even being treated as humans. In the reality of the final empire, they were less than livestock. So the wave of revolution that travels alongside their fragile newborn faith is bound to take time and sacrifice to produce any meaningful changes to their behavior and the structure of society responsible for perpetuating their poor treatment. The Well of Ascension recognizes this and shows, through various situations that put into balance their fear and thirst for freedom, just how gradual yet meaningful the actions of Kelsier's band of thieves were to the future of the Ska. The struggle of the ruling members in Untitled was interesting to read. The price of abiding by morality instead of doing what must be done paints beautiful character developments to the leading couple and the crew members. It also brings doubt about a previous assumption of the rebellion leadership. Is unstable freedom really preferable to stable oppression? The lasting impact that Kelsier, Ham, Clubs, Marsh, Spook, Sazed, Breeze, and Doxson had on the doctrine of mistrust that guided Vin's surviving life in the slums is apparent since the final empire. However, just as it is difficult to change a society's long-lasting discrimination, overcoming childhood trauma is not something that happens abruptly, as if burning a new metal would free someone from their troubles. The discovery of friendship and trust, taught through the acceptance and care of Vin's fellow gang members, showed the perspective of a happier life. Then her relationship with Alend finally broke the shackles of self-doubt, deprecation, and paranoid wariness that held her for so long. Her inner voice of Rien finally is silent. It was a gradual process of character development, spanning over 2 books, that was handled expertly in its execution. Various interpersonal conflicts, doubtful choices, mistakes, and their aftermaths all bring to fruition a beautiful story of self-acceptance that is both touching and addictively compelling to read. Vin and Alend are not the only ones receiving attention. The majority of the other crew members have memorable moments, and the use of more points of view aids their characterization incredibly. Some characters, Breeze and Clubs as the foremost examples, previously felt dull, showing few signs of emotions and simplistic personalities. One was quirky and manipulative, the other a grumpy realist, and that seemed to be it. In the Well of Ascension, however, the fear caused by looming threats and problems that unceasingly pop into existence provided fertile ground to show the uncharted sides of such characters, and Brandon Sanderson did not waste the opportunity. For most characters, that is. Some are still relatively shallow. Doxson is a sad example of that. He still gets some nice interactions here and there, and a bold conclusion to his arc in this book, but not to the point of stacking up to Sazed, Clubs, or Sewer and Breeze. Sazed goes without saying. He was an interesting character in the final empire, and that does not change in the Well of Ascension. In fact, I would say that his story arc and inner turmoil was the most entertaining part of all the other various character arcs. It's heartbreaking in a way to experience the growth of his character, due to how much suffering he lives through, but also profoundly rewarding to get absolutely lost in the immersion of his moving tale of duty, passion, love, grief, and apathy. Zane is an interesting character. He is clever, conflicted, and broken by his own mind. The interactions between the 2 Mistborns, Vin and Zane, were mysterious and entertaining to read. Nonetheless, one can see from a mile away where their arc is leading, and it is not as pleasing as it started out to be. The conflicting feelings shared by the traumatized Allomancers are understandable, relatable even, and it serves to push Vin toward one important decision. The culmination, however, felt flatter than I was expecting. Perhaps I can attribute that to how predictable the whole ordeal was, but ultimately it was the sense of childishness, akin to teenage drama, caused by what jump-started their breaking point that made it a plotline that I was just glad to be over with. Not to mention how convoluted Zane's plans are. They fit his personality and their current circumstances, but that does not absolve them from feeling overly complicated to achieve a simple goal. Since the end of the previous book, a feeling of unease is in the air. Something terrible is about to happen, and we know it to be inevitable. Yet there are so many antagonists and dangers, each one cleverly introduced, that it becomes hard to distinguish just how the story will play out. Interestingly enough, all the hints to the conclusion are skillfully spread throughout the book, yet I still found myself genuinely surprised by the eventual plot twist. It has everything I expect in an excellent finale. Shocking revelations, the coalescing of seemingly unimportant bits into something crucial to the characters in the story, the presence of real mortal consequence, and emotional and remarkable character moments. What can I say? This book was, honestly, amazing to read. Certainly just as extraordinary as The Final Empire, or even better.